Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kryptonian saying here, bringing you guys another discussion for Black Clover.
Wait a minute, who are you?
You know about superheroes, Baker girl.
And today we got something really interesting to talk about. So, as you guys know, for the last few times I talked about the Black Clover manga, one of the things I kept saying is like, man, like, we really need to raise the stakes right now. Like, right now, everything seems to be just a little bit too safe, and I hate the idea that Yami's gonna be alive, and that's not anything that can bring anything of real good note to us. And then we get this revelation that Yami's alive, William Vengeance is alive, which I cannot believe that William Vengeance is still alive. Like, if there was one character who we could see dying that nobody would miss, it would be William Vengeance.
Move this man!
The fact of the matter is this, it really felt like going into this last chapter that, okay, this is it. This is just your typical cookie cutter ending. This is what's going to happen. And then you get the revelation that Lucifero has manifested, and there's also another Supreme Devil there, and we didn't see any signs that they were at 100% power, but what we've seen so far is enough to let us know that these are characters that are incredibly powerful. And it kind of makes me go back to something that was already hinted at in the Black Clover manga before this, which is the fact that we could very well be seeing everything change. The stuff that the Black Bull's vice captain warned us about, that if Lucifero showed up, that it would basically be hell on earth and there wouldn't be anybody that was able to stop him. The whole purpose of this Spade Kingdom arc was, yes, it was to be able to rescue Yami, which mission accomplished. However, the other thing on this too was to gain proof of existence of devils in order to exonerate Asta. But one thing that you have to keep in mind is that we were also told that at some point Asta would end up dying. Now, I had always thought that this would be one of those situations like where Asta goes out like the very first Wizard King, where you get this super titanic battle where you got like whole land masses just changing, and you see Asta wielding all this anti-magic. You got this super big monster, everybody's watching him. I thought that there was clear foreshadowing when Asta stepped up and reminded Julius that he's not that guy anymore.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I thought we were going to be in a situation like that, and like Asta would just end up dying in that way, and everybody would have to recognize him, and maybe you go the route of like an honorary Wizard King. I thought that maybe we were going to go down a road like that. I thought that maybe that would be something kind of special for the character of Asta, and it would be a nice way of just paying off what you had with the very first Wizard King, where his remains were on the outside of Hodge Village. I thought that that would have been something where it was just really poetic. It was a nice way to pay everything off. I thought that that's how we were going. However, when we look at this right here, I'm kind of wondering if we're not going to get an earlier payoff. If Lucifero isn't already out now, he's displaying all this overwhelming magic power. He has all of the royals just face down on the ground. Everybody who could help Asta, all these royal magic knights, they're all face down. They're having to bow in the presence of the Devil King. And Asta, the person that was born without magic, is the only person still able to combat Lucifero. We're seeing so much symbolism right now. I kind of feel like this is setting the stage for Asta's death. And what's so interesting about this is that the boy who had no magic that nobody wanted is the only one left standing, going up against the King of Hell right now. But where I think that the foreshadowing is kind of put on that is that Asta right now looks like he's about to shit himself. And we're now in a situation where like the shonen main character power up, that's not going to save Asta right now. We just saw Asta get a brand new transformation. I don't think that there's going to be another transformation for Asta to pop up. This isn't something where we're not going to see Asta get a superhero suit 2 times in a row. I don't think that that's going to be the case that we end up seeing, and where I think that you kind of have a little bit of room to be worried right now is that not only is Lucifero maybe at 50, 55, 60% of his power, but you also have a situation where we haven't even seen Lucifero or that other devil, that other supreme devil that came out with them. They haven't used their grimoires, which means that you could potentially see another level of power out of these characters. And it's something that matches up, because like we were told that like if Lucifero ever showed up, like 90% of the population was absolutely dead. And I, for a long time, was kind of thinking like maybe Asta's father, maybe there was an angel connection. I thought that maybe that was something that Tabata was kind of playing with. However, the other thing that you have to look at is that I don't even think that was the case. I think that Lucifero is just being built up as just being this super bad guy. And I think that you're going to see a huge trigger that is going to be coming. Lucifero is going to see Libe. He's going to see Asta. He's going to immediately think about Asta's mom. He's going to make a connection to that past. I think that Asta's going to learn what happened, that this was the person that was responsible for his mother's death. I think that he's going to learn about Libe's connection to Asta's mom. I think Asta's going to go in his rage mode because he's going to be seeing the devil that was responsible basically for him not having a mother in this world. I know that she already gave up Asta to the orphanage before that because of how her magic worked. I know that she had already given Asta up to the orphanage before that, but just the fact of learning that this is the person that killed your mother, that's something that's going to send Asta into a rage. And it's one of those things where we don't know necessarily how Asta giving into that much rage is going to feed into potentially Lucifero's powers as well. And I think that having Asta fight and ultimately fall at the hands of Lucifero, this could be something that sets the stage for the final arc of Black Clover. Because I'm going to say it right now, like I feel like we're in game territory, even more so now after the whole thing with Jump Festa, where they announced that My Hero Academia was in its last arc, and that if everything went the way that the author had planned, that My Hero Academia will be ending next year. My Hero Academia and Black Clover started around the same time, and it kind of leads me to wondering if maybe we're not going to see a trickle down effect. And the way that the story has been set up right now, it kind of feels like this is endgame. Like, you just have Lucifero, the obvious pun on Lucifer.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Where do you go from here? Like, who is the last person that you're going to end up having Asta fight? Like, there's nowhere else to go. The only thing you can do at this point is like have something set up where you start playing with other mythologies, but you don't go any bigger than Lucifero. You don't go any bigger than Lucifer, basically. This has to be an in-game type of situation. I think that you need to set up a possibility of not only Lucifero killing Asta and sending Asta down there to hell, because Asta has a devil inside of him. That would be a good way to explain that. That would also mean that Julius's prophecy ended up coming true. I think that you need to have a situation where Lucifero still kills 90% of the people on the planet or on the continent. I think that that needs to happen as well. I think that you need to go ahead and pay off those things. And then you just reintroduce Asta after the fact by allowing something where maybe Libe sacrifices himself for Asta, and Asta, still being a being who doesn't have any type of magic, is able to pass through that portal in the underworld and able to come back to the living world, and Asta triumphs in that way. That would also fit in with the whole thing of Julius said that the Clover Kingdom would fall. I think that you need to have Lucifero basically kill that 90%, take up the throne in the Clover Kingdom, have the rest of the world basically down on its knees, and then you introduce Asta in that way. And the boy without magic is the one that ends up saving the whole damn kingdom. This feels like an end game, and I think this feels like we're in a situation where Asta is going to die. I don't think that we're going to see something like, spoiler alert, Demon Slayer, where you have a main character that dies. Spoiler alert, like Attack on Titan, where Eren Yeager ends up dying. I don't think that we're going to see the main character die in Black Clover, but what I am saying is that Tabata has already shown that, like, while he hasn't pulled the trigger on killing off anybody, whenever that does happen, it's going to hurt us. And I think that the only way that this makes sense is if the one person he ends up killing ends up being Asta. It's just it won't be at the end of the series. However, I want to know from you guys, do you guys agree with me that Lucifero not only raised the stakes, but also introduced us to the end game? And do you guys agree with me that essentially we're going to see Asta die at some point? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share.